Welcome to the New Muslim Workshop. My name is Mahmoud, and today we're going to talk about a relatively sensitive subject that every Muslim as well as new Muslim needs to know about, and that's Islamic hygiene. Stick around.
Welcome to the New Muslim Workshop.
Welcome back. As I said, this is a sensitive subject, so I apologize if some of you are a bit squeamish about it, but la haya fi din, this is extremely important. You need to know this as new Muslims or Muslims that want to learn more about your faith. Today we're going to discuss the hadith of the Prophet, peace be upon him, which was narrated by Abu Hurairah and can be found in both Bukhari and Muslim. And the hadith goes, 5 practices are of the fitrah, which is the natural disposition. Number 1, circumcision. Number 2, shaving of the pubic hair. Number 3, cutting the nails. Number 4, plucking hair under the armpits. And number 5, clipping the mustache short. So we're going to take each one of these and discuss it individually. Number 1, circumcision. As you know, in all the Abrahamic faiths, it is required that the male has to remove the foreskin. Usually, the removal of the foreskin happens when the male is a baby. With my children, within days of their birth, I took them in the hospital and the circumcision happened. And so it was painless for them. However, if you come into Islam and you are not circumcised, what is the deal? What happens to you? Well, it really depends on whether having a circumcision is something that might be dangerous for you or not. If you are a healthy male and there's no issues, you have no medical issues, it's a simple procedure. You go to the doctor, it happens under local anesthesia. You don't even go down. You're not under, basically. You get injected. I know it's a bit difficult, but you are injected with an anesthetic in the area, the foreskin is removed, and you'll have maybe a few days of discomfort, but after that, you fulfill the requirement of circumcision. If you are someone who has health issues, you have problems with your blood, you have problems with blood clotting or whatever it is that's happening in your body, you have some kind of health condition that will stop you from having the circumcision procedure, then you don't have to do it. You are not required to do it if it's going to cause you any harm. So if you can do it, you should do it. If you can't do it, if it's difficult for you, I'm not saying like you've got anxiety about it, that's a whole different thing. I'm saying that you physically cannot do it because of a medical condition, then you have a license to skip it. It's better for you in the long run to be circumcised. It's more healthier. And however, we're talking about the religious requirement as per the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. So, circumcision is required. If you are new to Islam, you physically can't do it because of a medical condition, don't worry about it. If you can, you're healthy. If you've gone and had a consultation with a doctor and says you're not going to have any issues, go get the circumcision. It's better for you. Number 2 is shaving the pubic hair. This is something that maybe a lot of people are not aware of, but in Islam it is preferred to shave the pubic hair or the hair in the crotch region. We're not saying keep it completely bald all the time. We're just saying that after a certain period of time, if it reaches a centimeter or a couple of centimeters, shave it off again. So after a period of time, keep it clean, keep it short. And in this case, the Prophet specifically said shave it. You can use clippers, and that's sufficient. So just the whole point of it is to maintain cleanliness. So what you need to do is use some clippers or use a razor if you prefer. Keep it clean, keep it short. Number 3 is cutting the nails. So it's important to follow the sunnah in this, in that keep your nails short. There are many cases where people were, because of long nails and because of the fact that feces were pushed with underneath the nails, where there was jinn possession. The jinn, all they need is a chink in the armor, if you will. And this najasa, what is called this lack of cleanliness, is a doorway for them to go in and possess you, and you don't need that. It sounds a bit odd, but this is something that happens. So sisters, please keep your nails short. Brothers, keep your nails short. Cutting your nails is important. The other thing is the idea of stick-on nails or acrylic nails or anything like that. Just be aware that in many cases, we've spoken to ladies who wash, Islamically wash bodies, that somebody has passed away and they've had to wash their body. And in many cases, the requirement is to make total ghusl for the dead body, for the deceased. And they are unable to do that because of the acrylic nails. So just be careful. The acrylic nails can be considered tashabbuh bil kuffar, which is imitating the kuffar. The other thing is the kind of adhesive that they use is sometimes super strong, and if anything happens to you, this is unfortunately how things go. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us as delicate beings. We could pass away at any time, and you don't want to be caught with this stuff on your hands, because the people who are going to wash your body and prepare you for burial don't know how to remove this stuff. I understand there's some kind of adhesive removal system, but they don't have that sometimes. And so it'll be problematic for you. So let's avoid the whole acrylic thing and keep our nails short for the sake of health and for the sake of the three things that I mentioned. Number 4, plucking the armpit hair. This sounds painful. It is painful the first few times you do it. However, with continued plucking, you desensitize yourself to the pain of plucking the armpit hair. So this whole hippie, hairy armpit hair thing that happened in the 70s and part of the 80s, that's not acceptable in Islam. We have to maintain cleanliness, because the hairs underneath your arms, they are receptacles to odor, and that's not what a Muslim is. The sweat that comes down in that area will cling to that hair, and that hair will effectively, it'll start smelling, and you can't be praying and smelling at the same time. It's a distraction for fellow people who also pray next to you, and for the angels. The angels will run away from you. They'll stay away from you. And this is a different hadith for the Prophet ﷺ, where he tells us that bad odors coming from the mouth and from the body affect the angels that are next to you during prayer. And that's something you have to keep in mind. It's important to be clean. It's almost kind of like the adage, cleanliness is close to godliness. There is an actual hadith where the Prophet ﷺ says something to that effect. If I find the hadith, I will post it for you. However, it is important for you to remove, if you can't pluck your armpit hair, just remove it. Just use a clipper and remove if you want to wax it, that's fine. Whatever the methodology is not a problem. If you want to stick to something close to the sunnah, if you want to get the rewards of performing the sunnah, then plucking is the way to go. However, if you want to shave it or if you want to wax it, that's fine. Number 5 is clipping the mustache. So I don't know if you've ever noticed it, but there's this sort of trend where the non-Muslim men grow their beards. Usually they kind of look like mariners, like people who are sailors and stuff. And they have this really sort of overhanging mustache. And I can't imagine, as a person who's had a beard and mustache for decades, I can't imagine what kind of stuff is stuck in their mustaches, what kind of food and nastiness is there. And it's something that the Prophet, peace be upon him, has specifically ordered us to do, which is clip the mustache. Some people go as far as to disconnect the beard from the mustache. That's fine. If you do that, there's nothing wrong with that. And some people completely remove the mustache. Again, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that if that's what you follow or that's your interpretation. The point is that when you drink or when you eat or whenever, there's no hair in the food. It doesn't go into your mouth. That's not what the Prophet said. The Prophet merely said for us to trim the mustache and keep it short. And so that's what we do. In this hadith, we are talking about the 5 parts of natural disposition that have to do with Islamic hygiene. And so it's a fundamental thing. It's not a daily occurrence that you're going to go and have circumcision, but that's something you have to do unless you are medically unable to do that, in which case you have a license not to have the circumcision performed upon you. So that's circumcision. Number 2, shaving the pubic area. That's not really strange. I mean, most people do it anyway these days, and obviously the benefits of that are many. However, this is a hadith, and this is a tradition of the Prophet that was mentioned 1400 years ago. And so it is part of Islam for you to maintain and shave the pubic hair and keep it short. And number 3 is cutting the nails, maintaining cleanliness of the nails. We're not going to talk about nail polish because just be aware that putting on nail polish during the menses, nail polish, by the way, not acceptable for men. Don't put nail polish. If you're a guy, it's not acceptable in Islam. If you're a lady, no problems. You can wear nail polish. However, you can wear it without restriction during the period where you have your menses. Sorry about that. That was a pun. During the time that you have your menses. After that, it becomes difficult because if you have nail polish on, it's going to negate your wudu. So if you're doing wudu and you have nail polish on, it's not considered a full wudu because the water has to touch the nails. Number 4, plucking the armpit hair. That could be a bit strange to people. Maybe they're not familiar with it. However, this is part of the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him, to remove it. So if you want to use clippers, that's fine. If you want to wax it, that's fine. If you want to gain the reward of sunnah, then you pluck it. Like I said, for your first few times, it will hurt, it will sting. However, by the 3rd, 4th, 5th time, your body gets used to it, and you will be desensitized to the pain. It'll just come out in clumps. Again, I know it sounds a bit weird, but it is what it is. And number 5, clipping the mustache. So to the brothers, we recommend you grow your beard, and if you have a mustache, trim it. Use clipping, use a mustache trimmer, or whatever, scissors, whatever you have that can keep your mustache hair outside of your mouth. That's all you need. And that's it. I hope this was informative. I hope this explains some of the aspects and requirements of hygiene in Islam. And I hope that you can tell any of your friends or fellow reverts that maybe are not aware of this, that this exists and this is something that as a Muslim we are required to do. Thank you very much. Jazakumullah khair. Please consider giving us a thumbs up and please consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. Thanks again. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.